Oh, that was Sixers coach Doc Rivers. And as I said in the feed, Ash and Nicole Moss, it's the right words for the wrong audience. And maybe that's the right audience right there you're just talking to. But these MVP voters in these streets are divided. They will tear the other one apart to celebrate their person. They will tear people down. Some of the accusations, some of the arguments are crazy. Ashley, how did the MVP discussion become so contentious?
Because it's so fluid and it changes from season to season. One year, what the criteria for MVP is different than the following year. So when something's so fluid like that, it leaves a lot of room for discussion and debate and pushback. We've seen, Steph Curry be in the conversation for the same reasons that Dame Lillard was never in the conversation. We've seen, other players be in the conversation for reasons those players weren't in the conversation. So it seems like it's a case-by-case, season-by-season basis, which is fine. But if you're going to do something like that, then you need to generalize the criteria enough to where there is still some sort of a regulation. If you play this amount of games, you can be in the running. If you don't meet that amount of games, you can't be in the running. If your team's not within, these 4 or 5 positions within the standings, you can be in the running. If not, you can't be. We can't move the goalposts, as we like to use that terminology a lot, whenever it's convenient, whenever our favorite, is having a great season, but they're on a losing team. I feel like it's a little bit of the favoritism game. And whenever you start doing that and it becomes a popularity contest, you're always going to have conversations like this.
As I saw those clips that producer Gary Carter put up, tell me, Ashley, I just feel this is part of what bothers me about my profession is that we can be so disrespectful to these players and to use terms like Embiid is ducking Jokic. That attacks that man's athletic character, And I just feel that that's wrong because I believe personally, without even knowing the man, but just watching him play, that if he's healthy or he's right, he's going to be on the court and he's going to relish the opportunity to play against someone who is considered to be maybe the front runner for MVP. So I'm curious about your thoughts about how, if you feel that same way that we do disrespect these players by at times questioning their athletic character when really there's nothing in their history that reflects that.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, and I've always been accused of being too pro player, but I'm very careful on the words that I use to describe players, whether, it's their performance or them as individuals, because I think that part of the problem within the sports media landscape is that we have gotten away from humanizing players and we kind of get a little egregious with the words that we use to describe them or describe the things that they're doing. So I'm very particular about, not doing that. But I will say that, listen, does it look great that Joel Embiid didn't play against Jokic? No. Is there a better way to vocalize that? Yes. Does that or should that negate everything he has done throughout an entire season? No. Will it for the hot take community? Yes. It's just, the nature of the beast. But you cannot negate an entire MVP caliber season off of the fact that he didn't go ahead and play against one of his fellow MVP candidates. That's not quite how it works. There's an 82-game season for a reason. One game doesn't make or break his entire resume within the course of a season. It's a little bit, exaggeratory and a little bit just, come on, really, are we doing this? But then again, I understand it's the nature of the beast. But I'm agreeing with you 100%. I don't like the terminology that is sometimes used to describe players and the way that they play the game. Not a fan.
All right, so let's see if Vinny Goodwill is the outlier here. So I was talking to him last week. I said, all right, Vinny, I said, for MVPs, I really can't tell you from memory. I can't tell you who won in a certain year going back. Now, in the finals, like champions, NBA champions, I got it. Like you throw out a year, throw out a year right now. Throw out a year right now, and I'll tell you.
1999.
Oh, okay, that was the lockout year. You know what? The Spurs. The Spurs, they beat the Knicks. They beat the Knicks, and they beat them at the Garden in the clincher. I was there. I covered that one. Anyway, so I got that stuff. It's in my head. But MVPs, I don't have it like that. And my point is does it really, I don't want to say it's an insignificant award. It's not. It's a very important award. Mm-hmm. But we're talking about it like lives are going to change and like, like is it really, is it that serious? What am I missing? Am I missing something? Is it that serious?
It's a bragging rights award, right? It's one of those awards that you can say you were the best player of all the teams in the NBA, of all the players in the NBA, you were the very best. It is somewhat of a prestigious award. You know, it's like being the MVP of the NFL and, you know, the MVP of any league. It's saying of all the people that play that sport and have dedicated their lives to the sport, you were the very best that season. So I wouldn't say it means nothing, but I feel like the discourse within the award has gotten bigger than the award itself, if that makes sense. I feel like the conversations surrounding it and how just they have become almost these think pieces. It's not that deep. Who's the best basketball player that season? Give them the award. The way that we're diving into race theory and bias theory and all these just like collegiate just theories that like I've learned in lecture classes is just a little bit over the top for me. We're not solving.
Hey, listen.
We're not solving the environmental crisis here. We're giving out an MVP award to a basketball player. Let's pump our brakes a little bit. It's not that.
Don't be going at the academy. Don't be going at the academy here, Ashley. Is it that deep, Trotter?
The thing for me is that it's a lot like Hall of Fame voting. Because there are no criteria to tell you what defines a Hall of Famer or what defines an MVP, you know, it's open to interpretation for every different voter. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. What I have a problem with are things like what Ashley just pointed out is we're going to say it comes down to one game where Joel Embiid says, I've been playing sloppy. I've been playing a lot of minutes, which means I'm tired. I need to be geared up for the playoffs. And so he's looking towards the big picture as opposed to this one game. And then we say things like, well, he's out of the MVP race because he didn't play this one game. Which is crazy. It's just, for me, it's just so disrespectful to him. And I get we live in the hot take culture where, you know, we got to have something to talk about and that sort of thing. But what bothers me, too, is that when you have former professional athletes who use certain words that are triggering, you know, and should know better. Perk should know better than to talk about ducking. I mean, that's such an insult to an athlete of Joel's stature, in my opinion. And, you know, that's just how I feel about it.
Let me switch up and talk to you guys about the NCAA tournament. First, you can go ahead and shout out where you know, what school you're going for.
Shout out to them boys from Boca, FAU, Owls up. We here. What's up, Final Four? That's what's good.
Look, you know, Michael, behind my head is my helmet from Howard University, my beloved university. But I also teach. I also teach at San Diego State, and therefore I am pulling for the Aztecs against Miss Ashley's club. So if you want to put a little something on it, Ash, if you feel that confident about your boy.
One thing about me is I never bet for or against my own team because I feel like it puts bad juju on it. I just let the basketball gods do what they do, and I stay clear of it. I don't try to interfere. I will not be placing any bets on any game with the word FAU in it. Absolutely not.
And see, then you took me out of it because I was going to say, we can't be doing any $700 sunglasses, though, right? Right? Some of us can't roll like that, right?
I'm going to be fully honest with you guys. I ain't paying that debt. I refuse. Just on principle alone. I'm not going to do
it. Hey, I see y'all having so much fun. I just want to point out, you know, Boston University is also in the Final Four. Like, nobody's talking about BU. I know what the Frozen for. It's hockey.
I was gonna say hockey.
I know y'all ain't down with hockey. Is that what it is? You got nothing. You got a kind word.
I didn't see it in your feed, Mr. Holly. So it can't be that big a deal if it wasn't in your
It's right there. It's right there.
Where?
It's right there in the feed. It's right. Look at that. Boston University is in the Final Four too.
No. I need to see the feed, not the Chiron at the bottom.
Not the lower third. Where's the feed?
Yeah.
It's in the feed too. Just check it out. You'll see it. Hey, you know what? Hey, listen, Gary. Can you put my feed up on the screen? Can you put my feed up so Jim and Ashley can see it? Now they doubt me. Now I put it down there pretty low. Obviously, a little tongue in cheek. There it is. Look at that. Between Doc Rivers and the Brooklyn Nets. I think it's number 8. There it is.
Listen, I also want to take this moment just to switch gears a little bit and say that, Jim, the NFL world, they lost a good one. They lost a real one, but all good. Real ones always bounce back. So I just wanted to go ahead and say that. Listen, they lost a real one.
I appreciate you, sister, and I'm not going anywhere. So my voice will be even louder going forward. Trust me on that.
I love to hear it. Small comeback for, what is it? Small setback for a major comeback? I don't know. I always mess up quotes.
That's it.
Yeah, there you go. I'm from New York. The Italian side of me will always mess up a saying. I get that from my mom.
It's all good. I appreciate you sincerely.
Now, I want to ask you guys this before we get you out of here. And I know Dawn Staley mentioned the coverage of women's basketball. And, Natalie has talked about this too, saying, hey, Aaliyah Boston's still not getting enough credit. I say, hey, Aaliyah Boston's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft, and they're undefeated. Still not enough, says Natalie. So, Ashley, I'll start with you. Staley, displeased with the media coverage. Do you think she has a case?
Yeah, she absolutely does. I mean, has it gotten better? Yes. I'm not going to say there hasn't been progress, but I feel like the product is so superior and just so high quality that it's not getting the same coverage that it deserves for something of that caliber, right? You look at everything that is put into the men's tournament and the exposure and the conversations and the ads, and as it should be, it's a great product. It brings a lot of eyes. But if you've been watching the women, they are hooping. They're having some incredible games. There's trash talk. There's beef. There's rivalries. They're going at it. I mean, it is a absolutely incredible product. And for it to not go ahead and get the same type of backing that you would expect from, the sports world is a business, right? And in any business, you put your money behind something that is a great product and that a lot of people are going to tune in to watch, and that goes ahead and broadcasts a great product to people who aren't there to watch in person. Except when it comes to women's sports, that formula seems to change, and that is a problem because it's not an inferior product, but it's being treated like one.
Ash, real quick, we got like 30 seconds. I wanted to ask you about these people who try and create the narrative that Dawn Staley should go and take over a men's program to show just how good a coach she is. They were talking about Temple. I wonder your thoughts on that, because I just think that is so ridiculous for that to even be a point of discussion.
Women don't have to infiltrate men's sports to showcase how good they are at sports. And women don't have to infiltrate men's spaces to go ahead and showcase that they're just as good as the men or they belong where the men belong. We can showcase that in women's sports. We can showcase that in men's sports. It is not a factor of where she does it. The proof of what she brings to the table is in her resume, and that's all that matters. So if she decides to go into men's sports, great. But if she doesn't, it doesn't make her less than a men's coach, and it certainly doesn't make her less than a men's basketball player. And women in general, if they choose to exist in women's sports, it does not make them less than their male counterparts who are reporting on male sports. Let's leave it at that. We don't have to go ahead and prove our work.
We're almost in National Poetry Month. You know what they do it at those poetry outings. There it is. Go ahead. Ashley Nicole Moss. Bringing it. And you know what? I think Trotter, I think I may have to roll with San Diego State though. Nothing personal, Ashley.
Oh, boo.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.